All right, everyone. So, Fadeaway Media tweeted out yesterday Vince McMahon is actively working with former WWE executive producer Kevin Dunn to release a response piece to his Netflix documentary. Now, this got 1.8 million views. I actually retweeted it initially, but then we've just read more and retweeted this next part, which is this is from Russell Features. This is not true. If a tweet like this has zero source attached, don't be afraid to ask for the source. Over a million views this incorrect tweet has. Awful. And he cites a report from Mike Johnson that says, for those asking about rumors that Kevin Dunn is producing a Vince McMahon piece that would respond to the Netflix Vince McMahon docuseries, PWInsider.com can confirm that is absolutely incorrect. And speaking to sources close to Dunn, we are told that he is not working on any McMahon-centric projects at all currently. So here's a few things out of this. The first is, so Vince wanted this Netflix documentary initially, right? So that's true. Then the next part came, and what that was okay, all the allegations come out. So now this documentary that he was going to be a huge part of, now he's no longer going to be a part of it. So that's where we are at this point. Then it gets released. And it's not that, the documentary was good for Vince in any way, because I don't think it was. I don't think the reaction shows that. And it shows a lot of the scandals, and it goes through the, obviously the allegations. But I also don't think it's necessarily like this crazy hit piece that everybody was expecting. A lot of people expected it to be this hit piece that kept his name in the news again, right? It just kind of got the media talking about it again. And really, the reaction from people was, oh, this is stuff we already knew. Everything in here we already knew, right? So there was nothing really all that new that was brought besides what Vince himself said in some of these interviews. So don't get me wrong, wrestling sites were talking about it. We've talked about it, but it wasn't necessarily the big hit of like, wow, this documentary just, it just raised so many new questions. It's just, it didn't do any of that. So because of that, on the face of it, this whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know what I mean? Like him, my guess is, because Vince clearly, this is why he did it in the first place. Vince clearly is looking at this from the standpoint of, okay, I want to have a documentary that's made about myself that I can kind of tell what I want to tell. That's what he wanted this to be. And due to everything that happened, that's not what it was. So could I see him doing something like this in the future again? Sure, right? Maybe that happens. But I don't think any of that is going to happen until, number one, all of these legal problems are sorted out. Everything that's going on right now, whether it's the investigation from the federal government, whether it's, what's going on with the I think it's a civil, I have to look, I think it's a civil suit, right, with Janelle Grant and all of that. Whatever happens with all of that has to happen before I think he even considers doing it again, because he wants to have a documentary made, and it's like, well, these two big major things are ongoing. How can you then, that's what the problem was with this, right, was that this documentary was being made, these allegations came out, boom, now it that became the focal point of what people were looking for, and for good reason. So I don't think he'll do anything about that until then. And also, you got to ask yourself, where is Vince going to get this documentary put? This idea that if he funded a documentary, would Netflix put it on? I don't know if that's the case, right? Because once again, at this point now, with the deal that Netflix and WWE have, it's going to be, they may not let that thing on there, right? They may. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.